You about your feet. An orthopedist will tell you about your bones. A physical therapist will analyze your gait. A psychologist will help you manage your anxiety. But what if they're all connected? What if your walk affects your hip alignment and the loss of movement affects your mental health? At Kaiser Permanente, we know the body is connected in unseen ways. That's why our doctors work together to care for all that is you. Kaiser Permanente, for all that is you. Learn more at kp.org.
The reigning 2022 champions are back in action, and NBC Sports Bay Area has you covered every step of the season. Catch Warriors pre- and post-game live an hour before and following each game, hosted by Bonte Hill with analysts and former Warriors Chris Mullin and Festus Ezeli. And get your Warriors news all week long on the Dubs Talk podcast with Kareth Burke and Monty Poole, featuring special guests and in-depth analysis. Authentic moments live here, only on NBC Sports Bay Area.
The all-new NBA app is happening and has you covered from coast to coast. With live tip-offs at your fingertips and highlights right as they happen.
Steph Curry drills the three.
Catch every can't-miss moment before, during, and after the game. And behind the scenes like you've never seen. It's all access, all the time.
Get on through 1, 2, 3.
All in one app. Because if it's happening in the new NBA app. So get the app today.
Everyone circle up. I know it looks rough out there. Sure, we're down 119-64, but we came here to play differently. We need a game changer. Something like Ring Central, the business phone system that's more than a phone. I want you to communicate like you can talk to anyone, anywhere, all from the same app. Now get out there and play like you're using Ring Central.
Ring Central. Simpler communications.
Come into Friedman's Appliance and see the full line of Fisher & Paykel appliances. Experience them in person in live vignettes, including their famous dish drawer dishwasher and unique sizes of refrigeration designed to fit seamlessly into your kitchen space. Fisher & Paykel products deliver perfect results with exceptional design and performance. And for a limited time, receive up to a $2,000 rebate when you purchase a qualifying Fisher & Paykel kitchen package from Friedman's Appliance. Visit Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill or online at friedmansappliance.com.
Been listening to the Golden State Warriors Audio Network, presented by United Airlines.
This has been a presentation of Odyssey Sports. For even more coverage of your team, download the free Odyssey app and listen to your favorite stations, shows, and podcasts.
That's a wrap.
Yo, that's a wrap. It was an amazing experience. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Hope we got some laughs, some good entertainment.
This is Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game.
Skip pass to Draymond. He'll penetrate on the drive, finds Kuminga slashing down, and a right-hand slam, taking off in the paint. Eric Kuminga with a dunk. Woo-hoo, my goodness. That was impressive.
Yes, it was. Yeah, one of a couple impressive dunks for Jonathan Kuminga hours, seemingly weeks ago here on 95.7 The Game. But no, tonight, Warriors and the Mavs, and Golden State gets the job done 119-113 in a game that they led by as many as 23 and never trailed. We welcome you into Warriors Wrap-Up here on 95.7 The Game. It's John Dickinson with you. We'll open up the phone lines at 888-957-9570. You can give me a call or shoot me a text at that number. But all eyes following the Warriors win, though, now turn to Steph Curry and turn to the MRI, which Steph Curry will be undergoing at some point tomorrow because Curry left this game toward the end of the third quarter, picked up a foul defending Dorian Finney-Smith of the Mavs, and wound up leaving the game. Looked at one point as if he had banged knees with Dorian Finney-Smith, but that's speculative at this point from looking at the replay. He limped to the bench. Initially looked like everything was okay. Rick Celebrini checking him out on the bench. And then Steph, as he got up toward the end of the timeout, Celebrini went back over to him, and he was really trying to walk it off, but limping extensively. And at that point, the decision was made for him to walk to the locker room. So not a lot of an update from Steve Kerr in his post-game press conference other than what we knew and was said on the broadcast, both on the radio and the television sides, and that is X-rays negative for Steph Curry on the left leg is what the Warriors are officially calling it. And so X-rays negative, and he's set to get an MRI, which would presumably take place tomorrow. And now, as the Warriors have found themselves in the position so many times over the years with Steph, you hold your breath and you hope, obviously, that it's something relatively minor, and relatively minor in this case could even mean that Steph winds up having to miss a little bit of time. You go back to the shoulder issue of mid-December, and Curry ended up missing 11 games over that stretch in what wound up being basically exactly 4 weeks and 11 games and 28 days from when he went down in Indiana and ultimately came back. That was December the 14th he goes down. January the 10th, he's able to come back against the Phoenix Suns, and that was 11 games where they didn't have Steph, and they were able to go 6-5, which is something that the Warriors really had not been able to do at any point in recent memory with Steph out for any lengthy period of time. You hope it's not 11 games, but you look and you obviously, certainly, you don't want to go down the rabbit holes as to the potential for it to be even more serious than that. So that is headline number 1, headline number 2, and headline number 3 following this game. As the Warriors were up 19 at the point in which Steph went down, and the Mavs immediately went on a run. And I know Draymond Green was asked about it post-game, I believe by Kareth Burke of NBC Sports Bay Area. Was there a little bit of an emotional letdown based on what was going on with Steph? I know a couple of players had said that they didn't even totally notice that Steph wasn't there until it got down to the point where Steph would have been potentially going back in the game. But the 19-point lead at 98-79 when Curry went out with about 2 minutes, it was 2:01 officially in that third quarter. They played a quarter plus about a minute without him, and the Mavs whittled down the once 19-point lead to 116-111. 32-18 over that 13-minute stretch for Dallas, and the Warriors really struggled, as they've been prone to do even with Steph on the floor down the stretch. Held on, didn't finish strong, but a win is a win, and the Warriors need as many wins as they can possibly come up with here, with now 5 games to go before the All-Star break, and then coming out of the All-Star break where there would only be 24 games to go at that point. So 30 games to go coming into tonight with the 6 before the break. That leaves 24 after the All-Star break. And the Warriors still very much in position to where if they can be healthy enough to make a run and start to finish some of these games, they can still achieve a pretty significant regular season goal, as we've talked about quite a bit. And so you look at the standings as they currently sit right now, and the Warriors do pick up a game on Dallas, as Dallas was 4th coming into the night. The Clippers won tonight in New York in overtime. So the Warriors gain ground on the Mavs and move up to 7th right now, but just a game and a half out of 4th, which is currently the Clippers now who move up. The Suns have won a couple of games in a row, so they move up. And teams now, Clippers and Suns, both on the heels of Sacramento, who still currently has the 3 spot. So 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. It's John Dickinson here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game, as the Warriors beat the Mavs 119-113 in a game where the Warriors did not trail, led by as many as 23, and it was kind of a ho-hum, as expected kind of a victory for the Warriors, although nothing easy, with Golden State up 15 at the half, led by as many as 21 in that first half, 13 points off of 9 Dallas turnovers in the first half, 19 assists on 30 made field goals for the Warriors. This was the good version of the Warriors against a shorthanded Mavs team without Luka Doncic, but the Warriors can't worry about that, and didn't to the point in this game tonight. I thought JaMychal Green and Jonathan Kuminga both really sparked the Warriors off the bench. Draymond Green was 3 for 3 from three-point range in the first half. Warriors were 10 of 20 overall from three, so it was all kind of clicking for Golden State to have the 73-50 lead going in at the break, and it looked like it was going to be a relatively drama-free night for the Warriors right up until that 2:01 mark in the third quarter where Steph tweaked or bumped that left lower leg. Still don't quite know and probably won't know until tomorrow or until the Warriors are able to give an update on the MRI. But, yeah, Curry picked up the foul, defending Dorian Finney-Smith, again linked to the bench, and the Warriors allowed the 19-point lead to get down to 5 before a couple of key rebounds from Kevon Looney. Dante DiVincenzo was in the game over Jordan Poole, which is something I know Warrior fans have been clamoring for. It was a defense over offense approach to the Warriors down the stretch in this one. And so that really helped the Warriors get enough stops and enough possessions, frankly, as far as the couple of rebounds that Looney got. Draymond Green had a huge block that turned into what looked like it was going to be a couple of Jordan Poole free throws as Poole was fouled on the play. Mavs challenged the call, and it was overturned. The foul was overturned, and then Dante DiVincenzo came in at that point. But the Warriors have enough in the tank, a couple of Dallas misses, and they improve now to 27-26 on the season with the 119-113 victory. As Golden State now 5 games to go before the break, as I mentioned. Oklahoma City at Chase, then they go to Portland. The Lakers are back here a week from tonight, and you move forward after that, and the Warriors play the Wizards, and the Warriors play at the Clippers to close out the pre-All-Star break portion of the schedule. And it's going to be interesting as you look at, not a perfect game, but really everything about this Warriors season kind of hangs in the balance of the Steph Curry MRI. And that's just reality when you have someone that's as great as he is as the face of the franchise and the best player for this franchise. And so it's a matter of, obviously, we don't want to even think or talk about what the worst case scenario potentially could be. I think that speaks for itself. But if it's a scenario where the Warriors have to play another 10 to 15 games without Steph, are they able to withstand that? I think it also impacts what the Warriors would potentially do at the trade deadline if Steph was going to be out for a lengthy period of time. Would that change the calculus as to whether the Warriors look to add or even potentially subtract? I think for the most part, probably not, considering they were able to withstand things back in December and on into January. I would say, if anything, it would maybe be in the more harsh, worst-case scenario for Steph. If that were the case, maybe the Warriors at the deadline have to flip the script and look to potentially subtract from a team that obviously wouldn't be a title contender, but you'd be hanging on to all your young assets at that point. But, again, don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves as the Warriors pick up a win and everyone awaits the severity of this leg injury for Steph Curry as he hobbled to the bench and ultimately hobbled to the locker room with 2 minutes to go in that third quarter, and what turned out to be a price of admission, kind of a victory for the Warriors, but it felt like it wasn't going to get tight tonight. Maybe I should have known better as to think that it wasn't, but the Curry injury definitely, I think, played a role in the fact that Dallas was able to get back into the game and put a little bit of a scare into Chase Center, because it was twofold in the moment where Steph went down. It was, is this serious? How serious is it? But then there was also the hint of concern over the building as to, are the Warriors going to have enough to finish this thing, even though they're up 19 and 19 became 15 and 15 became 8 and then 8 became 5. And it seemed like with enough key plays down the stretch, they'd be able to do it. Some solid DiVincenzo defense. JaMychal Green pitching in earlier on in the game. And again, the two key Kevon Looney rebounds, the Draymond block of the Dorian Finney-Smith three-pointer, all filed away in the category of just enough for the Warriors to withstand the run by the Mavs and hang on and win this game. All right, 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. A couple of text messages to get to on the Xfinity mobile text line. Also, we're going to hear from Steve Kerr. We're going to hear from Draymond Green. We're going to hear from JaMychal Green and hopefully from Dante DiVincenzo as we continue through the program. But let's take care of our legal ID here for the top of the 9 o'clock hour.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app.
All right, John Dickinson here, Warriors wrap-up on 95.7 The Game. Appreciate everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch as well as listening on the Odyssey app. And, of course, listening on the radio back here inside Chase Center where the Warriors were victorious 119-113 over the Mavs. Let's go ahead and head downstairs to the Bill King interview room inside Chase Center and hear from the head coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr, following this one.
I guess we got the news about the negative x-ray, but there will be an MRI tomorrow. Just from what you know, I know you're coaching the game and maybe you got a quick briefing. What do you, any more information than that?
Nope. That's all I have is that he's going to get an MRI. So I know he had an X-ray and that he's getting an MRI. That's it. I haven't talked to him or Rick or anybody yet.
Maybe this question's kind of. I mean, he came into the game with a lower left leg contusion, I think it was called. Do you know if it was related at all?
I don't know anything.
Gotcha.
Is there, I guess, a concern level for how severe it could be and what that could mean?
Well, anytime a guy's going to get an MRI, there's a concern level for sure. So we'll just have to wait and see the results.
I mean, what's just going through your head when you see Steph limping to the bench?
It's not the first time. He plays hard and he's all over the floor, and this has happened many, many times over the years. So fingers crossed that he's okay.
He came out earlier than usual in the first quarter. Was that to try to cut down his minutes tonight?
Yeah. I've been concerned about the overall minutes over the last 10 games for both Steph and Draymond. They were creeping up, and I felt like tonight we wanted to make sure we kept both of their minutes down as much as we could, and so we took them out a little bit early, kept them out a little bit longer in the second quarter as well.
Steve, before the game, you addressed closing out games, and they had a couple moments where they tried to make a little run, and it seemed like your guys kept pushing on both ends. Were you pleased with that stretch?
No, I didn't think we closed the game well at all. We made a lot of mistakes at both ends, and it was. I'm thrilled with the win, but I'm disappointed with the way we closed the game. So we've got to do better.
You went with Dante there for most of the final 3 minutes there. That was mostly a defensive decision on your part? Yeah.
So Dante is the defensive choice in that situation, and so that was why I made that decision.
There was a stretch there, Steve, where you guys went back to attacking the paint. Was that an edict to stop shooting threes and attack them inside?
It's just more the nature of the game. We knew they were going to play small for maybe half the game. Dwight Powell is a good big in the paint who can block shots and present a wall in there. But when he comes out of the game, they're playing 5 guards. So we talked about that before the game. We wanted to attack and get some paint points for sure.
Kevon Looney had 2 really key rebounds at the end of this game. What do you think about the way that he came up big for you?
Yeah, Loon is one of our best players down the stretch of games at both ends. His defense is elite, and he just seems to have a knack for getting important offensive rebounds and putbacks, and I thought Loon was great. I thought JaMychal was probably our kind of player of the game, in terms of what he provided in his minutes. He was just the toughness inside, the scoring, made some big defensive plays. So the that position was manned well by JaMychal and Loon and Draymond all night.
You guys went 6-5 when Steph was out last time. Does that give you confidence in case he does miss any time that you guys be able to weather that storm?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's if he's out, then you move forward, and we do have some games to lean on, some game film to look at, and we'll be ready for OKC regardless.
You just mentioned how well JaMychal played. Just wanted to ask you about his energy level and how much you could feel at the moment that he came in the game for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, J-Mike has been great. It's been a frustrating season for him on an individual basis. He hasn't played as much as I know he would like. And then, of course, he had the month-long absence with the illness and the infection. But I went to him a couple weeks ago and told him we were going to start playing small and there may not be minutes. And he was such a pro. He just said, I get it, and I'll be ready when you need me. So it's one of the reasons we wanted him is he's been a pro. He's been around this game for a long time, so he understands how things can change in an instant. And so he's stayed ready, and I think he's played really well over recent weeks.
Did you already get asked about the starting lineup?
No.
So you did go back to Looney in it. I guess what was your is that a long-term thing again?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to that. We got a good look at the smaller lineup. I think it was 9 games, if I'm not mistaken, and just came to the conclusion that our best bet is to start with the bigger lineup. We know that 5-man unit, it's either the number 1 or number 2 5-man unit in the NBA. So, and that was with a big sample size. So we like that unit, and we feel like our bench is playing better now. We've got more continuity there. And so we're going to go back to that lineup and, keep pushing. We've tried a lot of different things and obviously we're looking for a spark and we'll see how it goes.
All right, so Steve Kerr there, making a lineup change, and I think the small lineup was done to try and get the offense flowing. I think for the regular season, make Kevon Looney the backup center, and try to get the floor spread, but it really has not clicked and worked, and the Warriors vulnerable defensively. So Kerr going back to the traditional starting lineup, and in the game tonight they were 32-23, a +9 in the minutes that they played together, outscored the Mavs 32-23. And so you look at that, and Kerr's going to stick with it. The only concern is, and this is a one-game concern, but Jordan Poole, as he's fluctuated from starter to bench to starter over the time, when he's gone from starter to bench, he's tended to struggle from time to time, and tonight Jordan Poole, one of the more concerning games, 4 turnovers, 3 points, 1 of 6. I mean, at times it looked like he kind of didn't want to even be out there or was confident in even what he wanted to be doing on the floor when he was out there in his 26 minutes. And then DiVincenzo obviously was able to sub in for him down the stretch, the final couple of minutes for defensive purposes. So something to keep an eye on as Poole is one of those players that continually gets thrust into a lot of change. And, of course, it's been an up-and-down season for Poole overall as well. And, a player that obviously has been maligned at times by the Warrior fan base, although productive and helping the Warriors win a certain amount of games, especially when Curry is out. And if Curry is going to be out for some time here, Poole is going to have to go right back into that starting lineup, and the Warriors are going to have to run everything through him again to a certain extent and use his ability to score 25 to 30 a night, which he did with Curry out. And, some of the faults bedamned, they were able to 6-5 with a home-heavy schedule against some mediocre to lesser teams. They were able to stay afloat in time for Curry to come back, and that was with Curry missing a month. So while Poole struggled tonight also could be another example of where the Warriors really do need Jordan Poole, even if they are going to go back to Kevon Looney in the starting lineup, as Steve Kerr says he is going to do. Let's sneak in a call here before we pause. Mike in Daly City up on Warriors Wrap-Up tonight here on 95.7 The Game. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, JD. I just want to preface my trade suggestion
kind of a trade that I think helps both teams. But I want to preface it with my view, let's call it, of the Warriors and why they're languishing at 500 this year. I think we're going to find out at the end of the season that there was a lot more internal strife going on beyond the Poole and Draymond incident. I just don't see these, players as a combination playing well together, whether it's passing the ball as opposed to taking dribble, shoot on offense, or getting defensive rebounds, or moving and, picking up other people's men when somebody's got to run to block a shot or whatever. It just isn't there, communication-wise, chemistry-wise. And so this is why I came up with this trade idea. I would help New Jersey out a little bit, or Brooklyn, sorry, and ask them to give us Steph Curry, which clearly would be attractive for everybody, or Brooklyn and the Warriors. And I would even be willing to take Ben Simmons off their hands just for defense and ball movement purposes, and maybe Steve Kerr could have a bigger impact on him than some of his other coaches. And in exchange, I would be giving up Jordan Poole. And the question I have for you is, if that were a viable trade, money-wise, and I don't know, what would have to be added or subtracted to even things out, both from a value and salary cap standpoint?
Yeah, and thanks for the call, Mike. And that would not be a viable option because Jordan Poole currently still is a player that's making $3.9 million. His big money hasn't kicked in, so you'd be trading away that, but the team that gets him would have to be able to fit the $30 million salary moving forward, or the average $30 million salary moving forward under their cap. And so you look at Curry, who's in a 4-year, $32 million contract, so he's making roughly $8 million a year, Seth Curry. And then you've got Ben Simmons, who's making a lot of money as well. And so, Ben Simmons is in a 5-year, $177 right now. So there'd have to be max player going the other way and then some going the other way. So that isn't going to be feasible. Jordan Poole really probably isn't tradable until the offseason. And once his money kicks in, and then I think, all bets are off. We'll have to see how creative the Warriors want to get. You got to see how this season ends up for the Warriors. Does it end up in a playoff run? Does it end up in a play-in tournament? Does it end up with, Steph Curry missed too much time in the final 30 games of the season, and they wound up 10th or 11th in the Western Conference and on the outside looking in when it's all said and done. But I like the thought, but the feasibility not quite there. All right, we'll pause quickly. 888-957-9570. We'll hear from Draymond. We'll hear a little bit more from JaMychal Green, Dante DiVincenzo. Also reset the Steph Curry update as the Warriors don't close out the game strongly, but had enough of a cushion to hang on and win over the Mavs 119-113. You heard it right here on 95.7 The Game.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The all-new Nissan Ariya is a fully loaded EV. It's brimming with style and power.
Up to 389 horses of it.
Innovation and intelligence.
E-Force all-wheel drive.
It'll pin you to your seat.
Your very plush seat.
The all-new, all-electric Nissan Ariya. Nissan Ariya with E-Force expected availability early 2023. E-Force cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. E-Force and 389 horsepower available on Platinum Plus. Nissan calculation using 1-foot rollout testing with long-range battery and E-Force only in sport mode with E-Step off. These results are for comparison only and should not be attempted on public roads. Drive responsibly. See nissanusa.com for details.
Steiny and Guru host The Executive Show, a weekly interview with Bob Myers and Zaza Pachulia.
When we went to the Hamptons to meet with Kevin, we had a presentation, and I'm telling you guys the truth. The presentation, we stopped it 10 minutes in. Because if you know Kevin at all, Kevin was kind of looking around going, I don't need to see this stuff.
Brought to you by Yellow Sack. Try a dumpster bag for easy waste removal. Less mess, reduce stress. Budget-friendly, clean freely. Call 833-3YELLOW or go to yellowsack.com.
They say they'll get your biggest tax refund. Jackson Hewitt says your biggest tax refund guaranteed, and a chance to double your tax refund. Thousands in weekly prizes during the Double Your Refund sweepstakes. Your biggest refund times 2, twice the money, so forget about them. File your taxes on the double at Jackson Hewitt today. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal tax return. Promotion ends 4/2/23. Visit jacksonhewitt.com for rules.
Uncle, Kate's gonna leave me, and I need your advice. What's the problem, John? She thinks I'm cheating on her, but I'm not. It's just that I have ED now, and I don't know why.
Don't worry. The same thing happened to me. All men lose testosterone with age, and this can cause ED. I went to Balanced Medical Solutions, and they helped me rebalance my hormones. Now your aunt is happy again, and I lost weight, too.
Thank you. I'm gonna call them today.
Guys, stop suffering. Call Balanced Medical Solutions now at 510-679-3300 or visit balancedmedicalsolutions.com.
The following is an attorney advertisement. If you get sidelined by a workplace injury, the workers' compensation attorneys at Boxer & Gerson can help get you back in the game. Our team of skilled attorneys will fight by your side for the treatment and compensation you deserve. We care about justice for injured workers. That's what makes us Northern California's premier workers' comp law firm. Call Boxer & Gerson at 510-345-2341 or visit boxerlaw.com for a free consultation. Boxer & Gerson, your life is worth the fight.
He's the best interview in the Bay Area.
Steve Kerr, Warrior head coach here on 95.7 The Game.
When those nights happen, I kick myself afterwards for not walking into the locker room and banging on the walls, during our pregame meeting and yelling, do you guys understand what's about to happen?
And he's on with Damon and Ratto every single week during the NBA season.
Wow.
Steve Kerr on 95.7 The Game. Presented by Xfinity. Supercharge your home with supersonic Wi-Fi. Unbeatable internet only from Xfinity.
The all-new Nissan Ariya is a fully loaded EV. It's brimming with style and power.
Up to 389 horses of it.
Innovation and intelligence.
E-Force all-wheel drive.
It'll pin you to your seat.
Your very plush seat.
The all-new, all-electric Nissan Ariya. Nissan Ariya with E-Force expect availability early 2023. E-Force cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. E-Force and 389 horsepower available on Platinum Plus. Nissan calculation using 1-foot rollout testing with long-range battery and E-Force only in sport mode with E-Step off. These results are for comparison only and should not be attempted on public roads. Drive responsibly. See nissanusa.com for details.
No H2O is the leading waterless mobile auto detailer in the Bay Area, offering a full range of detailing services. No H2O comes to your home, business, or wherever is most convenient for you and gives your car a great wash with no water. No H2O auto detailing is ultra convenient and gets great scratch-free results for your car. And remember, no water is used. Call Brian today at 925-238-8182, 925-238-8182, or visit them at noh2owalnutcreek.com.
If you have certain chronic conditions such as heart disease,
asthma,
diabetes, and you're 19 years of age or older,
52, 36,
42, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I'm going to ask my doctor about getting vaccinated
with Prevnar 20.
Draymond with a drive down the lane, throws up a spinner, it goes up and in. Had it stripped, it went up in the air, he caught it and just threw it up, and it went in.
Now back to Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game.
All right, Warriors get the win, 119-113. John Dickinson back inside Chase Center, where the Warriors are now 27-26 overall. 888-957-9570. Warriors pick up win number 20 on the home floor, now 20-6 as they join Denver and Memphis among teams that have 20 wins at home in the Western Conference. Also Cleveland, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, and Boston also with 20 home wins. So the Warriors in some elite company, top quadrant of the NBA in home wins, not quite as dominant as it was to begin the season, but the Warriors now getting back to their winning ways on the Chase Center hardwood with their third consecutive win. Had won the last two before heading out on the road. Now win the first game back, and they'll be back in action against the Thunder on Monday. Everyone turning their attention to Stephen Curry and the MRI that is presumably scheduled for tomorrow, as Steph left the game at the 2:01 mark of the third quarter, bumped the lower left leg, defending Dorian Finney-Smith on a drive, picked up the foul, limped to the bench, went to the locker room. No real update from Steve Kerr or the Warriors other than x-rays negative, and now we'll get an MRI on what the Warriors are calling a left leg injury. So stay tuned, hold your breath, whatever it may be. Warriors did go 6-5 without Steph from December the 14th through January the 10th when he had the shoulder injury that he went down with in Indiana. All right, 888-957-9570. Let's get back to the phones, and before we hear from Draymond Green, and we'll go to Hill in San Francisco. What's going on, Hill? You're on Warriors Wrap-Up.
Thank you, JD. Yeah, I just really glad that the Warriors won, and I hope Stephen Curry would be all right. But I don't know if you noticed, the Warriors kind of had the advantage the whole way, and they were doing good with the jump shot, but they wouldn't take advantage in scoring in the paint when they had a better roster than Dallas, and because of that, they didn't really take advantage of that enough, especially in the closing minutes. That's why Dallas was able to come back, and I kind of didn't really like Wiggins and Looney in the closing seconds, even though Looney got a good offensive rebound. They weren't really good at scoring the whole game, and they took out JaMychal Green, and Kuminga was doing well, attacking the paint. Steve Kerr doesn't have enough guys attacking the paint in the closing seconds, and Jordan Poole's too small, the smallest guy on the roster, to do that. What do you think?
Well, I thought they got back to it, and Draymond Green's going to talk about this as we play his press conference here coming up on 95.7 The Game. The fact that the game plan all along tonight was to attack the paint against a Dallas team that didn't have Luka Doncic and also was probably going to want to play small on their own with Dinwiddie and 3 or 4 3-point shooters on the floor, and that could be an opportunity for the Warriors to be able to attack them. They did do it throughout the game. They got away from it in the fourth quarter, and then they tried to get back to it down the stretch, was my read on it tonight. They do end up with 56 paint points on 28 of 40 shooting in the paint. So that's a real good night. They outscored the Mavs 56-46. They did get a little three happy. I thought they were 10 of 20 from three in the first half. They ended up 4 of 15 from three in the second half, and they weren't quite attacking enough as the game got closer down the stretch there, but then did in the closing minutes at least tried to, which I think helped them get through and hang on for the win that they were able to earn in this one. Yeah, Wiggins is still struggling to find it. There's no doubt. I know Steve Kerr before the game mentioned the fact that even though Wiggins hadn't shot the ball well, he's really liked the fact that he thought on the road trip he played better defensively. He was more engaged, but tonight was kind of a sleepy Wiggins night with 3 turnovers and 9 points, and he was 4 of 6, but just kind of floating. Is he out there? Is he not? Kind of a Wiggins game. And Jordan Poole, we talked about in the last segment, really struggled. Kuminga and JaMychal Green gave the Warriors a lift, and JaMychal Green's been pretty good, I think, overall since he come back from the COVID and the infection, the health and safety protocols and the infection that had him in the hospital. And, we'll hear from JaMychal, talk a little bit about what Steve Kerr had said in the first segment tonight, and that's the fact that, he had went to JaMychal and said, you're not going to be playing as much. Stick with it, hang with it. And I think JaMychal Green has done that and kept himself ready. And it is open season for the Warriors right now as far as who the 8th and 9th men are going to be in a playoff rotation. And I think 8 we know is Kuminga at this point. Obviously, Poole 6, DiVincenzo 7, with Looney going back into the starting lineup. Could JaMychal Green be the 9th? Maybe not every night, but I think on a lot of nights he will be the 9th if he plays the way that he's played here these last couple of weeks since his return. And it takes a little bit from everybody, and they needed JaMychal Green's energy. They needed JaMychal Green's scoring, to put it bluntly, in this one. 6 of 7 tonight for JaMychal Green, 14 points. I mean, him and Kuminga both were plus 14s in their first half stints, which helped the Warriors jump out to what was the 21-point lead that they had in the first half, pushed it to 23 in the second half before Steph got hurt and things got a little dicey down the stretch. But JaMychal Green and Jonathan Kuminga really put positive imprints on this game tonight and really helped the Warriors earn a win that they had to get. I mean, make no mistake. I mean, this is a game the Warriors had to win with the Mavs coming in here without Luka Doncic, and now the potential for Steph Curry, we'll find out more tomorrow, to be out for at least a couple of games, you would think. And that may be the best case scenario at this point, although don't want to overreact, don't want to play doctor. MRI scheduled tomorrow for Steph. All right, 888-957-9570. Let's hear a little bit from Draymond Green as he met with the media back here inside Chase Center following the Warriors' win over the Mavs.
Draymond, what do you see as the difficulty you guys have had in closing games, especially on offense?
I think when we get down the stretch, we stop doing the things that worked. You find something that work all game long, you don't go away from it. And we tend to do that quite a bit. And, when the game's down the stretch, it's hard for Steve to get a call in every time. You're under pressure. It's intense. You're in the game. You're not really focused on what's coming from the sideline. So we just got to do a better job of executing down the stretch.
It seemed like when they got a little close, you guys hit 3 straight sets that went towards the rim. Was that intentional?
And that was the game plan from the beginning. They struggle. They don't have much rim protection. Get to the paint, and if they collapse in, kick out, but get to the paint with the mindset to score. And like I said, as the game get tough, we kind of go away from it.
Did you talk to Steph at all after the game? Any sense of the status of this injury?
No, I don't know. Didn't get a chance to talk to him. I just finished my lift, so check in with him when I get out of here.
Steph missed the whole fourth quarter. We know what happens when he's not on the floor regarding the X's and O's, but did it change the emotional tenor of the game for you guys?
I mean, I think it was so sudden. I didn't even realize he left the bench. So I think it was just so sudden. I don't think it necessarily changed the emotion. I think you get a lead, you let your guard down. That's what happens, and it's quite the theme with this team.
Jonathan Kuminga becoming the youngest Warrior to reach 1K points tonight. What does that kind of say about his career trajectory?
I mean, he's a special talent, very special talent. He's buying into the things that gets him on the floor, and then once you get on the floor, you use what you got. And, I think he's doing a really good job of that.
When it comes to those late game executions issues that you guys have had, is that a problem with mental toughness maybe, or aren't you able to lock in?
I think it's a focus thing more so than mental toughness. Mental toughness, if you have no mental toughness, you lose right there. So it's a focus thing. We need to do a better job focusing.
A couple weeks ago, I was talking to you about the big move to go small for you guys. Now you're flipping back. I guess, what do you think it's going to do for you guys to, go back to you and Looney, and sounds like for good in that starting lineup?
I mean, we know what that lineup is capable of. It's been one of the best lineups all year. It's a lineup that's accustomed to playing together. So, just more of what we're used to.
Are you still dealing with any calf soreness?
No, it's just tight, but I'm fine.
Obviously, we know it's been a tough physical year for JaMychal, but tonight he's got the two weak side blocks. He's flying all over the place. Just having him out there for you, how much of a difference does it make when he's playing like this?
It's huge. And quite frankly, since he's been back from the injury, he's been playing really well. Earlier in the season, when we're kind of struggling to figure out what rotations, it didn't go well for him. I feel like he's just kind of a casualty of war, where trying to figure out rotations, certain lineups aren't working, and he's just caught in the crossfire, and you go through that, and then, a coach loses confidence in you, and you have to gain that back, and that's a process. And I think he's doing a great job of that. He's been a true professional. He's had some DNPs. He's continued to stay ready, stay in shape, and, taking advantage of his opportunity. And I think, you'll start to see, him developing that role that he's playing on this team. And, he's a guy that's going to help us down the stretch for sure.
All right, so Draymond Green with some high praise on JaMychal Green's ability to stay ready. We'll get to JaMychal Green here coming up in just a moment. And Draymond, not mincing words, as he typically doesn't, with regard to the game plan of attacking the paint, and bluntly saying that the Warriors at times get away from the game plan down the stretch in games, and it has cost them, putting them in some vulnerable positions in games that they've had in hand, with some of the leads recently, the 14-point lead, the 16-point run against Denver. There's been 9 games this year where the Warriors have had a double-digit lead and not won. Had that note for you earlier here on Warriors Live before the game. And so, the Warriors doing just enough down the stretch, had enough of a cushion built up to withstand. And JaMychal Green, professionalism, that is something where the play hasn't always been there at the level that I think the Warriors had anticipated it to be, but the professionalism and ability to stay ready, I think, has been on full display, and he has been able to make more of an impact here over the last couple of weeks. And so we'll see if he's able to continue that moving forward here through the 5 games to go before the All-Star break, and then the 24 games that follow. All right, before we get to JaMychal Green, let's go back to the phones at 888-957-9570, and that's where Jonathan checks in here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. What's going on, Jonathan?
Say, with one game remaining in late March, I'm going to probably go when they play the 76ers. I'm done trying to understand the ebb and flow of the season. I look back, and that Miami Heat game in October feels like a million years ago when they beat them. And, as a Warriors Heat fan, I look back on that game and think, if not for that, I would have been undefeated. I've won four straight, and yet they're in the position they're in. This team could not possibly be more Jekyll and Hyde. It's unbelievable. And I love the game. I love the win. I didn't love, as Kerr had said pregame, I didn't love their closeout. And I had no idea what happened to Steph until I heard the postgame when I came out of the arena. So I'm sitting here with a long wait till I go in March for my final game, thinking, I'm basically in the same position where I was last year, thinking they weren't ready to compete for a title, but I was wrong then. It makes no sense. I've won all these games, and yet they are having the problems they're having. Is it the end of the dynasty? Is it the middle of the dynasty? Is it nobody knows what's going on with this team?
And look, I think we have to at some point stop comparing last year's team to this year's team. I know it's hard to do because last year's team won the championship, and the top 6 from last year's team are the top 6 on this year's team. But last year's team was just a lot better, and a lot better put together, and more cohesive, and with better chemistry. It was just a better team. And Gary Payton II's been hurt, and Otto Porter Jr.'s been hurt, and Bielitsa went back overseas. And the Warriors found different players to fill the gaps. Kuminga's got more of a role than he did last year. Moody and Wiseman are still, for the most part, non-factors as they were last year, other than some, when necessary, in case of emergency, on the case of Moody, he was able to get some run in the playoffs. But last year's team was just better. Jordan Poole played a lot better last year in his numerous roles. I mean, he went off down the stretch last year with Steph out, and the Warriors didn't have a great record down the stretch, but they won a couple of games because he was averaging high point totals and basically leading the league in 3-point shooting for that stretch to where they won just enough to avoid dipping to the 4 or the 5 seed, which could have been problematic for them. He was excellent starting last year for Klay Thompson. He's been fine this year when he's been in the starting lineup for Klay Thompson. And the Warriors went 6-5 with Poole in there as, for Steph Curry in the time that he was out there. And so, when I get text messages like this one from the 408, JD, really love you, but you got to stop sucking up to Poole. He's single-handedly killing this season. That's just factually inaccurate. It's inaccurate. He's not had a great season. We could quibble about whether or not top to bottom he's had a good season, but he has helped them win games this season, and they would be worse off without him. So when you're questioning, what like taking Jordan Poole completely away is not going to help this team win. He's got to play better, but he has to play. He has to play. He is in the top 6. He is in the top 8 for this team. He is going to play, and he has to play, and he needs to play better. We'll see in the offseason when he becomes a $28 to $30 million player at that point, whether the Warriors look to move off of him or change the chemistry of the team or whatever. But for right now, he's on this team. He's a key component. He has to play. It's plain and simple. And as for Kuminga's made more of an impact on this team, JD, than Poole. You seem to be the only guy high on Poole. What's funny is, and look, Kuminga's made more of an impact lately than Poole, but not top to bottom. And so, yeah, I mean, miss me with that. And I've been, on Kuminga being a factor here lately, the time when he was injured, before he got injured, and then the time since he's come back from the injury. And look, the last 3 weeks or so, he's been much more impactful than Poole has been over that stretch. But over the course of the season, what game are you watching? 408 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. I think too many fans are too quick. Jordan Poole was the chosen one a year ago. Jordan, if anything, Jordan Poole was probably anointed by the Warrior fan base and some in the media, not yours truly, but he was anointed as a future star before he was really ready to actually become one. Let's keep it real about Jordan Poole. I've actually been one of the few people that never anointed him a star, that never anointed him a future, multi-time all-star or superstar. A lot of people were doing that. Now, you still got to pay him because the time came to pay him. But I also said when the Warriors decided to pay him that just because he was getting that contract doesn't mean he's going to be on the Warriors for the next 4, 5, 8 years. So we'll see. Time will tell on Jordan Poole. But I think if anything, people were too high on him last year, and I think people are too down on him this year because the Warriors are not winning as much. And I think there's a certain portion of the Warrior fan base that can't blame any of it on the guys that have helped them win championships, like Steph or Klay or Draymond. And so they turn to, all right, who's the one that's, the outlier? And I think Jordan Poole's gotten himself caught up in being the outlier and drawing a lot of the fans' ire. But look, he's not having a great year, top to bottom. I think everybody can see that he's not having a great year, but it's not as if he's been completely unhelpful to this team. I mean, that's a joke. It's a joke. Like the people that act like Poole's just crushed this team and been the biggest reason why they don't have a better record, you embarrass yourselves when you say stuff like that. It just it doesn't make sense. And look, I'll stand 1,000% on a Saturday night at 9:40 behind my record on Jordan Poole. I didn't anoint him a superstar a year ago, and I'm not dumping him out into the bay tonight because he struggled and not had as good of a year. People are way too quick. And look, this team's going to need, if Steph Curry's got to miss in a couple of weeks here coming up, beginning tomorrow because of this leg injury, the Warriors are going to need Jordan Poole again to keep him afloat as he did in December and January, to where they don't get 5-6 games under 500 if they got to play another few weeks without Steph Curry, and then the season is night-night. So, that tells you hang with Jordan Poole a little bit. 888-957-9570. Let's go ahead and hear a couple of minutes from JaMychal Green as he met with the media. Green, 14 points tonight, 6 of 7, 1 of 2 from 3, and it's short and sweet. A couple of minutes with JaMychal.
JaMychal, kind of from your perspective, what's the biggest issue for you guys in terms of closing out games?
We just got to slow it down. I feel like we get away from what we were doing in the first half, what was working as far as moving the ball, just playing together. And sometimes we just get stagnant and try to, make the hero plays.
What do you think's kind of been different for you since you've come back from injury, maybe prior to when you got left?
It's locked in, out my own way. I feel like I was in my own way, just overthinking. Right now I'm just playing free.
Were you thinking about it a lot during, when you were out? I'm sure you were thinking about the game a bunch.
When I was out?
When you were out, did the mindset change during your absence in some ways?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I just know, for the most part, I feel like before I got COVID and everything, I was starting to, turn it around and starting to play good. Just wanted to keep that mentality, stay in that rhythm and just continue to play free.
Steve said that he had a conversation with you when they went small a few weeks ago about that you might not play as much. What was your mentality like when he said that, and how did you're saying you sort of mentally it's a lot. What was your mentality then?
I was frustrated, not gonna lie, but I took it as a challenge. So just took it upon myself to get in the gym and just stay ready. It's hard being in and out, but you gotta stay a professional, stay on top of your game and just be ready when your name called.
JaMychal, how has the season been for the team? It seems like every few games somebody gets hurt. It's like as soon as you guys get healthy, somebody else gets hurt. Has that been kind of frustrating just for the whole team?
Very much so. It's been an up and down season for us. Sometimes we get going and we think, that we clicked and, we'll take a hit. So it's a lot of adversity that we're fighting through, but, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We're in a great position. We just got to get some wins in a row and move up the ranks in the ranking.
All right, so a couple minutes there from JaMychal Green as we welcome you back inside here. Warriors wrap up on 95.7 The Game. John Dickinson with you for a couple of more minutes. And the Warriors win tonight 119-113 over the Mavs. They hang on from up 23 in the second half. Steph Curry goes down in this one, and the Warriors win despite just running back through the play-by-play and the box score here. They didn't have a field goal in the last 6 minutes and 4 seconds of the game tonight. Klay Thompson hit a three, which made it 115-98 at that point in time, and it was 15-4 Dallas over the course of the last 6:04 of the game, and all of the points that the Warriors scored, all 4 of them came from the free throw line. Wiggins split a pair of free throws, and Kevon Looney split a pair of free throws in this one, along with Klay Thompson hitting a couple of free throws in the final 12 seconds, and that was it. So the Warriors did it with the defense. They did it with the rebounding of Kevon Looney and the block of Draymond Green, and were able to hang on, and it did get a little dicey with a minute to go at 116 to 111 out of the Tim Hardaway three-pointer. But, Warriors able to grind this one out, and I knew it was rough offensively, but when you look at it, it's even more startling, the potential for the collapse as far as where this team was with the inability to score without Steph on the floor. And again, the players downplayed it, but I do think there was a little bit of a where's Steph kind of thing going on down the stretch. And the Warriors also, I think because of the shortened rotation and the like, have looked a little bit fatigued from time to time. And I think that's led to some mistakes that have been costly for this Warriors team in some of the big moments. But they get the win. They're able to wash it away. We'll all await the news on Steph Curry for tomorrow. And then we'll see where the Warriors go from here with OKC at Chase on Monday, with the game on Wednesday in Portland. And then the Warriors have the Lakers back here a week from tonight, home against Washington, at the Clippers, and then they'll get what amounts to, I believe, a 9-day break off for the Warriors. They finish before the All-Star break earlier than anybody, and then they come back that first day on the Thursday, February the 23rd. But it looks like the Warriors, they're going to get 8 full days in between games, and that, I think, is going to come at a welcome time. But the Warriors need to get as many wins as they possibly can, Steph or no Steph, over these next couple of weeks to lead into the break. All right, that'll do it for tonight. Good stuff from everybody on the phone lines, good stuff on the text line, even those coming down my road saying I'm making excuses for Jordan Poole. That's all right. We can have a conversation. It's what we do here on 95.7 The Game. So I want to thank Sterling Bennett. I want to thank everybody in our San Francisco studios for putting together the post-game interview segments and the highlights. Great stuff by everybody. I'll be back with you on Monday, back here at Chase, Warriors and the Thunder. That's a 6 o'clock Warriors Live, as I'll have that for you from Chase Center, and the Warriors and the Oklahoma City Thunder playing for the second time in a week, as Warriors Live at 6, tip-off for that one at 7 o'clock. All right, Fox Sports Radio is coming your way next. Keep it locked right here on your home for Warriors basketball. It's 95.7 The Game. Good night.
I'm here at the Big Game headquarters, Total Wine and More, scoring huge savings on the perfect bourbon, local craft beer.
Forgetting something?
Oh yeah, Cabernet, seltzers, and so many low prices.
Valentine's Day is right after.
Whoa, new game plan.
You got this. Total Wine can help you score the perfect bubbly, too.
Thank you, I would have been so...
You sure would have.
Your Big Game headquarters. Love what you find, always at the lowest price. Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. B21.
Get up to